orders substituted service as Obaseki Shaibu PDP evade service of 5 petitions. The inaugural sitting of the Edo State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal was held on Friday with chairman of the 3-man panel, Justice Abdulrazak Abdulkarim, ordering a substituted service of the petitions and processes to be posted on the walls of the PDP State Secretariat and Government House, Benin, while the pre-hearing sitting had been fixed for the 7th of December for the 5 petitions. This followed complaints by petitioners that incumbent governor of the state, Gordon Obaseki, who was the governorship candidate of the PDP during the September 19, 2020 election, his deputy running mate, Philip Shaibu, and the PDP were evading service of the 5 petitions and processes filed against them. The tribunal has set up till the first week of April 2021 to give its judgment in the matter. The battle for the governorship of Edo State had shifted to the tribunal, which is sitting at Edo State High Court complex on Sapele Road, Benin, following the dissatisfaction of 5 of the participants in the election, while the outcome of the exercise, in which Obaseki was declared winner by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Through the governor's main challenger, Osagi Ezeyamo of the APC, rejected the result. He, however, resolved not to challenge it at the tribunal. Petitions were, however, filed by Action Democratic Party and its governorship candidate Iboy Emmanuel, Action People's Party without joining its governorship candidate, Amos Arolegbe, AA, Action Alliance, and its governorship candidate Okonga Onaivi, and also the AMP, the Allied People's Movement, excluding its governorship candidates Igbenekwa Osamwede and Tracy Ago, without joining a political party, the New Nigerian People's Party (NNPP). The petitioners are seeking the nullification of the September 19 return of Obaseki and Shaibu for a second term in office, calling for a fresh election by INEC but excluding the PDP, Obaseki and his running mate. They called for the disqualification of the candidates over alleged forgery of their certificates. I mean, to be honest, this is old news and they're already in power. What's the pettiness about? Like, right now, there are other things to focus on. They're already in power. The people voted for him, and it was really obvious that there was you could see that there was a general public sway. It was actually a hard election. It was hard to predict, but you could see there was a general public sway towards Obaseki, and they've won and they're in office. Like, now is after September, it's now you're asking for this. Ex parte applications were filed by Douglas Ogbankwa, AI Osaruke, and others, respectively, seeking order to serve the applications and processes through the substituted service by posting them on the wall of the street of the Secretariat of PDP in Benin, the state capital, which was unanimously granted by the tribunal. The petition and processes from AA, prayed by the council ES or Saigbo in the ex parte application, would be served through substituted means by posting them on the wall gate of Government House in the Government Reservation Area (GRA), Benin, for the attention of Obaseki as unanimously granted by the tribunal. ADP and its governorship candidates in the petition with reference number EPT ED Gov 01 2020 with INEC, PDP, Obaseki, APC, and its governorship candidate Pastor Sagi Ezeyamo has responded, prayed the tribunal to disqualify Obaseki over his controversial first degree certificate from the University of Ibadan and nullify the votes cast for him, thereby ordering INEC to conduct a fresh election, including all other qualified governorship candidates, excluding PDP and Obaseki. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, the matter of forgery of certificates should have been handled before the elections to see if the person was eligible. So it's a bit too late. It's very late. They're already in the elections. If before the elections where, they brought this up and action was taken on this before the election as to whether PDP and on its candidates Obaseki and Philip Shaibu were eligible, then they would have fixed it. But then they're in office now, and this person just seems very, very salty. I mean, these parties, to be honest. APM also filed a petition, and the petition by Agol, who did not join the political party NNPP, and even Agol, alternatively, people are also declaring, or the parties are declaring for Obaseki's participation in the election should be declared null and void, and all his votes, plus the APP and AA, and all these parties are just, I don't know. Of course, I understand that there's a lot of forging of eligibility criteria, and also like with the elections, you can also like bring in the argument of how accurate or how reliable were the election results. But to be honest, this is a really, like, I can see from the article, a very passionate, like, we have to get Obaseki and PDP out, but you can't. They've won, they're in office, and right now this should not be the focus, because there are a lot of things going on in Nigeria. Well, Justice Abdul Karim said, as you are very much aware, our assignment is time-bound. As such, we don't have the luxury of time. With the help of God Almighty, the tribunal is committed to complete its work on the 5 petitions filed before it within the time frame allowed for it to complete its assignment. Well, in his response on behalf of the counsel at the tribunal, Ken Mwaza, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, assured that they will do their best to assist members of the tribunal to succeed without wasting time of the tribunal with frivolous applications and motions. Well, I mean, to be honest, I genuinely feel like this is not necessary now. We need to focus on the revolution that's happening in Nigeria right now, with the Lekki killings, with just end SARS and end bad governance, and that is what we should be ending as well. You could argue that in line with ending bad governance, how they got into power, if it can't be told to us and it's not proven to be valued or reliable, then you can argue that how are actually ending bad governance. Well, obviously this is a hot topic and there are a lot of opinions, and this person says all these bunch of useless parties have been paid by APC to do this. They knew quite well that they're not going to win. I'm not a party person, and I don't even want to vote, because there's no party to vote for. But these bunch of idiots are being paid to obstruct the government of PDP candidates, but they fail. I mean, this allegedly could be true. Maybe APC is salty and then just brought out all these dead parties, these get-together parties that no one knew existed, to come and start filing, all these complaints. The fact is, they've won. Why are you so salty about it? We need to move on. There are other issues to be worried about. Another person says, the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob, Oshomole, we cite you. This is what somebody has said. Enemies of progress fool this social media. No wonder we are dying in APC government. Yes, people who hunger must still praise them. Edo election was God's work to remove Osho slavery. The people just obeyed God's instructions. If not, court of God, no court in the world will remove Obaseki. And to be honest, I feel like in a way, I sort of agree. This person sort of bringing religion into it. But I personally feel like, everyone could see that there was a public agreement, as in the majority of the Benin people, they actually were like, we are going to vote for Obaseki. It was obvious. I mean, in the campaigns, in the articles, it just seemed that everyone was swaying towards Obaseki's side. And the people, it was live. I mean, it was a hot election. Everybody had their eyes on that election, and everybody knew that it was likely that Obaseki would win, because there was just this public sway of opinion that, Obaseki was basically better than, obviously, the party. So that's what it is. I mean, I don't think this is what we should focus on. I think, it's just petty and salty. It really does seem to me, because it's been like, almost 2 months after the election has been won, and you're bringing this case of eligibility, which should have been, talked about before the elections. Well, it's a bit salty to me. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.